Hi guys, welcome to Core Java tutorial. In this tutorial we are going to discuss about wrapper classes. Wrapper classes are the classes which are used for converting the primitive data types to a object type of classes. Suppose if you take the primitive types like we have the primitive data types like byte, boolean, char, int, long, float, double. So these are all the basic primitive types we know. And suppose if you have a system and if you want to bypass these data types to some other system, let's assume this is a computer and this is another computer. So these are all the two different computers, and if you want to bypass data from one computer to other computer, so these primitive data types will not allow to pass through the network. It means the network primitive So primitive data types will not pass through the network from one computer to other computer, but the other types like the object types can able to possible to travel from one network to other network, which is from one computer to other computer. So as we've seen, from computer to computer, if you want to bypass some kind of code or some kind of communication using your Java application, so only the object types will be able to now pass from the network. So the primitive types or the types we have listed out of here, so these are not possible to pass through the network. So to overcome this problem, Java is introduced the wrapper classes. So the wrapper classes are the one which are having the capacity of taking this particular primitive data types to object types. So what wrapper classes will do? Converts primitive data type to object type. So this is the definition for wrapper classes, and with these wrapper classes you can able to have for each and every wrapper class, each and every primitive data type, you have a wrapper class respective. Let's see for byte, what is the wrapper class for that? It is a byte. So for byte we have a wrapper class called as byte. So this is an object, you can able to create it and you can able to bypass this object to the network. And for boolean we have a wrapper class called as boolean. So by the name it's saying this is a class type, and this is kind of the primitive type. If you mention b caps in the byte, then it says this is a wrapper class. For boolean, if you make as a b as a capital, then it is a wrapper class for boolean. So if you're for character, we have, so for char is a character primitive data type. For that we have a wrapper class like character. For int, it is a integer. For long, it is a long. For float, it's a float. Double, it is a double. So these are the wrapper classes for respect to each type. For byte, we have a, I don't know what it is. For byte, we have a byte character. Byte is a wrapper class, and for boolean, we have boolean. And for char, we have character. And for integer, we have for int, we have integer, and long, we have long type. So these are all the wrapper classes you have to remember, and it's not much difficult to remember these wrapper classes. And let's see how we can able to convert a wrapper, it's a primitive data type into a wrapper classes. Let's see one by one. Suppose you take the integer type. So you have int x equal to 10. So you want to create a wrapper class for this, wrapper class object for this. The way to do this is integer I equal to, or anything you can give it, integer I equal to integer dot value of the value, whatever it is, x you have, and x you have to give it here. So this is the way you can able to create a wrapper class object for an integer. So from primitive to wrapper class we have converted here. So there is a method for each and every wrapper classes. Like for byte also we have similar method, which is the value of, and for long also we have a similar method called the long dot value of. And now we know how to get a integer to the wrapper class. This is kind of primitive to wrapper. Now we have a wrapper class. Now we want to do it in reverse way. A dot int value. So if you give this, then it will actually convert a wrapper class object into the primitive type. Let's go to the Eclipse, and there we can see how to create these example over there. So let me create a class. So let me put it in wrapper classes package. Let me have a main method. So let me try out these examples first. Later we can go to the other way, which is wrapper to primitive. So as per our example, I'm just taking int x equal to 10. Now I'm taking this to wrapper class. I'm actually trying to convert this to wrapper class, which is integer dot value of x. So I need to save it in a value which is the type of object, which is integer y. So x is an primitive type and y is an integer type. If I just print out this, So if you print this value, then it actually convert it to the object format. Then you're getting the value. Now I want to convert this y to again the primitive type, which is integer. So which is the reverse way, whatever we're trying here. Z equal to y dot int value. So this int value will actually returns to the type, which is the primitive type. So we can print that value even Z. If you just print it, it will print the value as 10. If you see in the console, there is no difference you can able to identify, but if you see as an object, so this is actually primitive type, and this one actually y is actually the object type. So here it is actually primitive type, and this is how we can able to get it a primitive type from the object type. So we have seen both the conversions, wrapper to these kind of primitive to wrapper, and this one will be wrapper to primitive. So these are you can able to perform the wrapper classes to primitive and primitive to wrapper. The same thing you can do it for other types also. Suppose if you have a boolean b is equal to true, and if you want to make this to wrapper class, then boolean c is equal to b dot boolean dot value of b. That's it, you're done with conversion. This out c. So now you can see the value the console. See, now you can able to see the value. So the value of method is a common for all the primitive, all the wrapper classes, and this using this value of method you can able to give your primitive type, but then it will actually convert to respective wrapper classes. Let's see how this particular reverse conversion will happen for boolean type. So boolean b is equal to, I want to convert from c to, c is a wrapper class, I want to convert from wrapper to primitive type here. C dot boolean value. See, for integer we have int value, and for boolean we have boolean value. So these are you can able to do the wrapper classes to primitive classes and the primitive classes to wrapper classes. And as I explained, this is the major advantage of using the wrapper classes, because if you want to bypass the information from network, so you have to use the wrapper classes. The primitive types will not able to pass it. Not only for the network, I can say if you are doing some kind of serialization and all, and if you need to bind some values, so it is recommended to use the wrapper classes instead of the primitive types. Once we get into the collections, there you get to know, like if you are declaring any collections like array list or something, so you need to mention a type, like you can mention the primitive types also, but it's recommended to mention the wrapper classes instead of the primitive types. So that's how the wrapper classes will help, and it will actually useful, but it's not mandate to have all our programming to the wrapper classes. It is specific to the requirement. If this is going to be work through the network related application, that case you can use the wrapper classes, but it depends. But it's good to know about this topic, and if something went wrong and some data is not serialized, which is declared in the primitive, and if some data is not passing through the network, and because of the data type, then then you can get this idea, like because of this primitive type is not happening, and once you make these two wrapper classes, then you can able to do all these operations. So that's about the wrapper classes. The next tutorial we can see it one more important topics. Thanks guys, thanks for watching.